Um, so basically,
Good evening. So, I'm going to try to finish chapters 28, 29, and 30 of Jubilees tonight. Shabbat Shalom, also, by the way. Chapter 28. And he went on his journey and came to the land of the east, to Laban, the brother of Rebekah. And he was with him and served him for Rachel, his daughter, 1 week. And in the first year of the third week he said unto him, Give me my wife, for whom I have served thee 7 years. And Laban said unto Jacob, I will give thee thy wife. And Laban made a feast, and took Leah his elder daughter, and gave her to Jacob as a wife, and gave her Zilpah his handmaid for a handmaid. And Jacob did not know, for he thought that she was Rachel. And he went in unto her, and beheld, she was Leah. And Jacob was angry with Laban, and said unto him, Why hast thou dealt this with me? Did not I serve thee for Rachel, and not for Leah? Why hast thou wronged me? Take thy daughter, and I will go, for thou hast done evil to me. For Jacob loved Rachel more than Leah. For Leah's eyes were weak, but her form was very handsome. But Rachel had beautiful eyes, and a beautiful and very handsome form. And Laban said to Jacob, It is not so done in our country, to give the younger before the elder. And it is not right to do this, for thus it is ordained and written in the heavenly tablets, that no one should give his younger daughter before the elder, but the elder one gives first, and after her the younger. And the man who does so, they set down guilt against him in heaven, and none is righteous that does this thing, for this deed is evil before the Lord. And commanded thou the children of Israel that they do not this thing, let them neither take nor give the younger before they have given the elder, for it is very wicked. And Laban said to Jacob, Let the 7 days of the feast of this one pass by, and I shall give thee Rachel, that thou mayest serve me another 7 years, that thou mayest pasture my sheep as thou didst in the former week. 7 years to get your wife. You have to be basically a farmhand to her father for, that's insane, 7 years. Uh, and he served yet another 7 years for Rachel, for Leah had been given to him for nothing. And the Lord opened the womb of Leah, and she conceived and bare Jacob a son. And he called his name Reuben, on the 14th day of the 9th month, in the first year of the third week. But the womb of Rachel was closed, for the Lord saw that Leah was hated, and Rachel loved. And again Jacob went in unto Leah, and she conceived, and bare Jacob a second son, and he called his name Simeon, on the 21st of the 10th month, and in the third year of this week. And again Jacob went in unto Leah, and she conceived, and bare him a third son, and he called his name Levi, in the new moon of the 1st month, in the 6th year of this week. And again Jacob went in unto her, and she conceived, and bare him a fourth son, and he called his name Judah, on the 15th of the 3rd month, and in the 1st year of the 4th week. And on account of all this Rachel envied Leah, for she did not bear, and she said to Jacob, Give me children. And Jacob said, Have I withheld from thee the fruits of thy womb? Have I forsaken thee? And when Rachel saw that Leah had borne 4 sons to Jacob, Reuben and Simeon and Levi and Judah, she said unto him, Go in unto Bilhah, my handmaid, and she will conceive. Haven't we heard this story before? Similar? And bear a son unto me. And she gave him Bilhah, her handmaid, to wife. And he went unto her, and she conceived, and bare him a son, and he called his name Dan, on the 9th of the 6th month, in the 6th year of the third week. And Jacob went in again unto Bilhah a second time, and she conceived, and bare Jacob another son, and Rachel called his name Naphtali, on the 5th of the 7th month, in the 2nd year of the 4th week. And when Leah saw that she had become sterile and did not bear, she envied Rachel, and she also gave her handmaid Zilpah to Jacob to wife, and she conceived and bare a son, and Leah called his name Gad. On the 12th of the 8th month, in the 3rd year of the 4th week. And he went in again unto her, and she conceived and bare him a second son, and Leah called his name Asher, on the 2nd of the 11th month, in the 5th year of the 4th week. And Jacob went in unto Leah, and she conceived. Man, Jacob was a busy dude, huh? And she conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Issachar, on the 4th of the 5th month, in the 4th year of the 4th week. And she gave him to a nurse. And Jacob went in again unto her, and she conceived, and bare 2 children, a son and a daughter. And she called the name of the son Zabulon, and the name of the daughter Dinah, in the 7th of the 7th month, in the 6th year of the 4th week. And the Lord was gracious to Rachel, and opened her womb, and she conceived and bare a son, and she called his name Joseph on the new moon of the 4th month, in the 6th year and the 4th week. And in the days when Joseph was born, Jacob said to Laban, Give me my wives and sons, and let me go to my father Isaac, and let me make an house, for I have completed the years in which I have served thee for thy 2 daughters, and I will go to the house of my father. And Laban said to Jacob, Tarry with me for thy wages, and pasture my flock for me again, and take thy wages. And they agreed with one another that he should give him as his wages those of the lambs and kids which were born black and spotted and white. These were to be his wages. And all the sheep brought forth spotted and speckled and black, variously marked. And they brought forth again lambs like themselves, and all that were spotted were Jacob's, and those which were not were Laban's. And Jacob's possessions multiplied exceedingly, and he possessed oxen and sheep and asses and camels, and men servants and maidservants. And Laban and his sons envied Jacob, and Laban took back his sheep from him, and he observed him with evil intent. I gotta change my neck. I'm not in a good position here. Jubilees 29. And it came to pass when Rachel had borne Joseph that Laban went to shear his sheep, for they were distant from him 3 days' journey. And Jacob saw that Laban was going to shear his sheep, and Jacob called Leah and Rachel, and spake kindly unto them, that they should come with him to the land of Canaan. For he told them how he had seen everything in a dream, even all that he had spoken unto him, that he should return to his father's house. And they said, To every place whither thou goest, we will go with thee. And Jacob blessed the God of Isaac his father, and the God of Abraham his father's father. And he rose and mounted his wives and his children, and took all his possessions, and crossed the river, and came to the land of Gilead. And Jacob hid his intention from Laban, and told him not. And in the 7th year of the 4th week, Jacob turned his face toward Gilead, in the 1st month, on the 21st thereof. And Laban pursued him, and overtook Jacob in the mountain of Gilead in the 3rd month, on the 13th thereof. And the Lord did not suffer him to injure Jacob, for he appeared to him in a dream by night, and Laban spake to Jacob. And on the 15th of these days Jacob made a feast for Laban, and for all who came with him. And Jacob swore to Laban that day, and Laban also to Jacob, that neither should cross the mountain of Gilead to the other with evil purpose. And he made there a heap for a witness, wherefore the name of the place is called the heap of witness after this heap. But before they used to call the land of Gilead the land of the Rephaim, for it was the land of the Rephaim, and the Rephaim were born there giants, whose height was 10, 9, 8 down to 7 cubits. And their habitation was from the land of the children of Ammon to Mount Hermon, and the seats of the kingdom were Carnaim, and Ashtaroth, and Edrei, and Mizar, and Beon. And the Lord destroyed them because of the evil of their deeds, for they were very malignant. And the Amorites dwelt in their stead, wicked and sinful, and there is no people today which has wrought to the other of all their sins, and they have no longer length of life on this earth. And Jacob sent away Laban, and he departed unto Mesopotamia, the land of the east, and Jacob returned to the land of Gilead. And he passed over the Jabbok in the 9th month on the 11th thereof, and on that day Esau his brother came to him, and he was reconciled to him, and departed from him unto the land of Seir. But Jacob dwelt in tents. And in the first year, in this Jubilee, he crossed the Jordan, and dwelt beyond the Jordan, and he pastured his sheep from the sea of the heap unto Bethshan, and unto Dothan, and unto the forest of Akrabim. And he sent to his father Isaac for all his substance, clothing, and food, and meat, and drink, and milk, and butter, and cheese, and some dates of the valley. And to his mother Rebekah also 4 times a year, between the times of the months, between plowing and reaping, and between autumn and the rain season, and between winter and spring, to the tower of Abraham. For Isaac had returned from the well of the oath, and gone up to the tower of his father Abraham, and he dwelt there apart from his son Esau. For in the days when Jacob went to Mesopotamia, Esau took to himself a wife, Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael. And he gathered together all the flocks of his father and his wives, and went up and dwelt on Mount Seir, and left Isaac his father at the well of the oath alone. And Isaac went up from the well of the oath, and dwelt in the tower of Abraham his father on the mountains of Hebron. And thither Jacob sent all that he did send to his father and his mother from time to time. And they needed, and they blessed Jacob with all their heart and with all their soul. And in the first year of the 6th week, he went up to Salem, to the east of Shechem, in peace, in the 4th month. And there they carried off Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, into the house of Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, the prince of the land, and he lay with her and defiled her, and she was a little girl, a child of 12 years. And he besought his father and her brothers that she might be given to him to wife, and Jacob and his sons were wroth because of the men of Shechem, for they had defiled Dinah, their sister, and they spake to them with evil intent, and dealt deceitfully with them, and beguiled them. And Simeon and Levi came unexpectedly to Shechem, and executed judgment on all the men of Shechem, and slew all the men whom they found in it, and left not a single one remaining in it. They slew all in torments, because they had dishonored their sister Dinah. And thus let it not again be done from henceforth, that a daughter of Israel be defiled. For judgment is ordained in heaven against them, that they should destroy with the sword all the men of the Shechemites, because they had wrought shame in Israel. And the Lord delivered them into the hands of the sons of Jacob, that they might exterminate them with the sword, and execute judgment upon them. And that it might not thus again be done in Israel, that a virgin of Israel should be defiled. And if there is any man who wishes in Israel to give his daughter or his sister to any man who is of the seed of the Gentiles, he shall surely die, and they shall stone him with stones. For he hath wrought shame in Israel, and they shall burn the woman with fire, because she has dishonored the name of the house of her father, and she shall be rooted out of Israel. And let not an adulteress and no uncleanness be found in Israel throughout all the days of the generations of the earth. For Israel is holy unto the Lord, and every man who has defiled it shall surely die. They shall stone him with stones. For thus has it been ordained and written in the heavenly tablets regarding all the seed of Israel, he who defileth it shall surely die, and he shall be stoned with stones. And to this law there is no limit of days, and no remission, nor any atonement, but the man who has defiled his daughter shall be rooted out in the midst of all Israel, because he has given of his seed to Moloch, and wrought impiously so as to defile it. And do thou, Moses, command the children of Israel, and exhort them not to give their daughters to the Gentiles, and not to take for their sons any of the daughters of the Gentiles, for this is abominable before the Lord. For this reason I have written for thee in the words of the law all the deeds of the Shechemites, which they wrought against Dinah, and how the sons of Jacob spake, saying, We will not give our daughter to a man who is uncircumcised, for that were a reproach unto us. And it is a reproach to Israel, to those who live, and to those that take the daughters of the Gentiles. For this is unclean and abominable to Israel. And Israel will not be free from this uncleanliness, if it has a wife of the daughters of the Gentiles, or has given any of its daughters to a man who is of any of the Gentiles. For there will be plague upon plague, and curse upon curse, and every judgment and plague and curse will come upon him, if he do this thing, or hide his eyes from those who commit uncleanness, or those who defile the sanctuary of the Lord, or those who profane his holy name. Then will the whole nation together be judged for all the uncleanness and profanation of this man. And there will be no respect of persons, and no consideration of persons, and no receiving at his hands of fruits and offerings and burnt offerings and fat, nor the fragrance of sweet savor, so as to accept it, and so fare every man or woman in Israel who defiles the sanctuary. For this is the reason I have commanded thee, saying, Testify this testimony to Israel. See how the Shechemites fared, and their sons, how they were delivered into the hands of 2 sons of Jacob, and that they slew them under tortures, and it was reckoned unto them for righteousness, and it is written down to them for righteousness. And the seed of Levi was chosen for the priesthood, and to be Levites, that they might minister before the Lord, as we continually, and that Levi and his sons may be blessed forever. For he was zealous to execute righteousness, and judgment, and vengeance on all those who rose against Israel. And so they inscribe as a testimony in his favor on the heavenly tablets blessing and righteousness before the God of all. And we remember the righteousness which the man fulfilled during his life at all periods of the year, until 1,000 generations they were recorded. And it will come to him and to his descendants after him, and he has been recorded on the heavenly tablets as a friend and a righteous man. All this account I have written for thee, and have commanded thee to say to the children of Israel, that they should not commit sin, nor transgress the ordinances, nor break the covenant which has been ordained for them, but that they should fulfill it and be recorded as friends. But if they transgress and work uncleanness in every way, they will be recorded on the heavenly tablets as adversaries, and they will be destroyed out of the book of life, that they will be recorded in the book of those who will be destroyed, and with those who will be rooted out of the earth. And on the day when the sons of Jacob slew Shechem, a writing was recorded in their favor in heaven, that they had executed righteousness and uprightness and vengeance on the sinners, and it was written for a blessing. And they brought Dinah, their sister, out of the house of Shechem, and they took captive everything that was in Shechem, their sheep and their oxen and their asses, and all their wealth, and all their flocks, and brought them all to Jacob their father. And he reproached them, because they had put the city to the sword, for he feared those who dwelt in the land, the Canaanites and the Perizzites. And the dread of the Lord was upon all the cities which are round about Shechem, and they did not rise to pursue after the sons of Jacob, for terror had fallen upon them. Alright, I'm going to go on for a minute here. 31. Wish my eyes didn't get tired, because I'd read a whole book at a time. I'd go 2-3 hours if I could do it without my eyes bothering me. And on the new moon of the month Jacob spake to all the people of his house, saying, Purify yourselves, and change your garments, and let us arise and go up to Bethel, where I vowed a vow to him on the day when I fled from the face of Esau my brother, because he had been with me and brought me into this land in peace. And put ye away the strange gods that are among you. And they gave up the strange gods, and that which was in their ears, and which was on their necks, and the idols which Rachel stole from Laban her father, she gave wholly to Jacob. And he burnt and brake them to pieces, and destroyed them, and hid them under an oak which is in the land of Shechem. And he went up on the new moon on the 7th month to Bethel, and he built an altar at the place where he had slept. And he had set up a pillar there, and he had sent word for his father Isaac to come to him, to his sacrifice, and to his mother Rebekah. And Isaac said, Let my son Jacob come, and let me see him before I die. And Jacob went to his father Isaac, and to his mother Rebekah, and to the house of his father Abraham. And he took 2 of his sons with him, Levi and Judah. And he came to his father Isaac, and to his mother Rebekah. And Rebekah came forth from the tower to the front of it to kiss Jacob and embrace him, for her spirit had received when she heard, Behold, Jacob thy son is come, and she kissed him. And she saw his 2 sons, and she recognized them, and said unto him, Are these thy sons, my son? And she embraced them, and kissed them, and blessed them, saying, In you shall the seed of Abraham become illustrious, and ye shall prove a blessing on the earth. And Jacob went in to Isaac his father to the chamber where he lay, and his 2 sons were with him. And he took the hand of his father, and stooping down, he kissed him. And Isaac clung to the neck of Jacob his son, and went upon his neck. And the darkness left the eyes of Isaac, and he saw the 2 sons of Jacob, Levi and Judah. And he said, Are they thy sons, my son? For they are like thee. And he said unto him that they were truly his sons, and thou hast truly seen that they are truly my sons. And they came near to him, and he turned and kissed them, and embraced them both together. And the spirit of prophecy came down into his mouth, and he took Levi by his right hand, and Judah by his left. And he turned to Levi first, and began to bless him first, and said unto him, May the God of all, the very Lord of all the ages, bless thee and thy children throughout all the ages. And may the Lord give to thee and to thy seed greatness and great glory, and cause thee and thy seed from among all flesh to approach him, to serve in his sanctuary as the angels of the presence, and as the holy ones. Even as they shall the seed of thy sons be for glory and greatness and holiness, and may he make them great unto all the ages. And they shall be judges and princes and chiefs of all the seed of the sons of Jacob. They shall speak the word of the Lord in righteousness, and they shall judge all his judgments in righteousness. And they shall declare my ways to Jacob, and my paths to Israel. The blessing of the Lord shall be given in their mouths to bless all the seed of the beloved. Thy mother has called thy name Levi, and justly she has called thy name. Thou shalt be joined to the Lord, and be the companion of all the sons of Jacob. Let his table be thine, and do thou and thy sons eat thereof, and may thy table be full unto all generations, and thy food fail not unto all the ages. And let all who hate thee fall down before thee, and let all thy adversaries be rooted out and perish. And blessed be he that blesses thee, and cursed be every nation that curses thee. And to Judah he said, May the Lord give thee strength and power to tread down all that hate thee. A prince shalt thou be, thou and one of thy sons, over the sons of Jacob. May thy name and the name of thy sons go forth and traverse every land and region. Then shall the Gentiles fear before thy face, and all the nations shall quake, and all the people shall quake. In thee shall be the help of Jacob, and in thee be found the salvation of Israel. And when thou sittest on the throne of honor of thy righteousness, there shall be great peace for all the seed of the sons of the beloved. Blessed be he that blessed thee, and all that hate thee, and afflict thee, and curse thee, shall be rooted out and destroyed from the earth, and be accursed. And turning, he kissed him again, and embraced him, and rejoiced greatly, for he had seen the sons of Jacob his son in very truth. And he went forth from between his feet, and fell down, and bowed down to him. And he blessed them, and rested there with Isaac his father that night. And they ate and drank with joy. And he made the two sons of Jacob sleep, the one on his right hand, and the other on his left. And it was counted to him for righteousness. And Jacob told his father everything during the night, how the Lord had shown him great mercy, and how he had prospered him in all his ways, and protected him from all evil. And Isaac blessed the God of his father Abraham, who had not withdrawn his mercy and his righteousness from the sons of his servant Isaac. And in the morning Jacob told his father Isaac the vow which he had vowed to the Lord, and the vision which he had seen, and that he had built an altar, and that everything was ready for the sacrifice to be made before the Lord as he had vowed, and that he had come to set him on an ass. And Isaac said unto Jacob his son, I am not able to go with thee, for I am old and not able to bear the way. Go, my son, in peace, for I am 165 years this day. I am no longer able to journey. Set thy mother on an ass, and let her go with thee. And I know, my son, that thou hast come on my account, and may this day be blessed on which thou hast seen me alive, and I also have seen thee, my son. Mayest thou prosper and fulfill the vow which thou hast vowed, and put not off thy vow, for thou shalt be called to account as touching the vow. Now therefore make haste to perform it, and may he be blessed, may he be pleased who has made all things, to whom thou hast vowed the vow. And he said to Rebekah, Go with Jacob thy son. And Rebekah went with Jacob her son, and Deborah with her, and they came to Bethel. And Jacob remembered the prayer with which his father was blessed, and his two sons Levi and Judah. And he rejoiced and blessed the God of his fathers, Abraham and Isaac. And he said, Now I know that I have no eternal hope, and my sons also before the God of all, unless it is ordained concerning the two, and they recorded as an eternal testimony unto them on the heavenly tablets, and how Isaac blessed them. 32. And he abode that night at Bethel, and Levi dreamed that they had ordained and made him the priest of the Most High God, him and his sons forever. And he awoke from his sleep and blessed the Lord. And Jacob rose early in the morning on the 14th of this month, and he gave a tithe of all that came with him, both of men and cattle, both of gold and every vessel and garment. Yea, he gave tithes of all. And in those days Rachel became pregnant with her son Benjamin, and Jacob counted his sons from him upwards, and Levi fell to the portion of the Lord. And his father clothed him in the garments of the priesthood, and filled his hands. And on the 15th of this month he brought to the altar 14 oxen from amongst the cattle, and 28 rams, and 49 sheep, and 7 lambs, and 21 kids of the goats, as a burnt offering on the altar of sacrifice, well pleasing for a sweet savor before Yahweh. This was his offering in consequence of the vow which he had vowed, that he would give a tenth, with their fruit offerings and their drink offerings. And when the fire had consumed it, he burnt incense on the fire over the fire, and for a thank offering 2 oxen and 4 rams and 4 sheep, 4 he-goats, and 2 sheep of a year old, and 2 kids of the goats. And thus he did daily for 7 days. And he and all his sons and his men were eating thus with joy there during 7 days, and blessing and thanking the Lord, who had delivered him out of all his tribulation, and had given him his vow. And he tithed all the clean animals, and made a burnt sacrifice. But the unclean animals he gave not to Levi his son, and he gave all the souls of the men. And Levi discharged the priestly office at Bethel before Jacob his father in preference to his 10 brothers. And he was a priest there, and Jacob gave his vow. Thus he tithed again, the tithe to the Lord, and sanctified it, and it became holy unto him. And for this reason it is ordained on the heavenly tablets as a law for the tithing, again the tithe to eat before the Lord from year to year in the place where it is chosen that his name should dwell, and to this law where is no limit or days forever. This ordinance is written that it may be fulfilled from year to year in eating the second tithe before the Lord in the place where it had been chosen, and nothing shall remain over from it from this year to the year following. For in its year shall the seed be eaten till the days of the gathering of the seed of the year, and the wine till the days of the wine, and the oil till the days of its season. And all that is left thereof and became old, let it be regarded as polluted, let it be burnt with fire, for it is unclean. And thus let them eat it together in the sanctuary, and let them not suffer it to become old. And all the tithes of the oxen and sheep shall be holy unto the Lord, and shall belong to his priests, which they will eat before him from year to year. For this is ordained and engraven regarding the tithe of the on the heavenly tablets. And on the following night, on the 22nd day of this month, Jacob resolved to build that place, and to surround the court with a wall, and to sanctify it, and make it holy forever, for himself and his children after him. And the Lord appeared to him by night, and blessed him, and said unto him, Thy name shall not be called Jacob, but Israel shall they name thy name. And he said unto him again, I am the Lord who created the heaven and the earth, and I will increase thee and multiply thee exceedingly, and kings shall come forth from thee, and they shall judge everywhere, wherefore the foot of the sons of men has trodden. And I will give to thy seed all the earth which is under heaven, and they shall judge all the nations according to their desires, and after that they shall get possession of the whole earth and inherit it forever. And he finished speaking with him, and he went up from him. And Jacob looked till he had descended into heaven. And he saw in a vision of the night, and behold, an angel descended from heaven with 7 tablets in his hands. And he gave them to Jacob, and he read them, and knew all that was written therein, which would befall him and his sons throughout all the ages. And he showed him all that was written on the tablets, and said unto him, Do not build this place, and do not make it an eternal sanctuary, and do not dwell here, for this is not the place. Go to the house of Abraham thy father, and dwell with Isaac thy father, until the day of thy death of thy father. For in Egypt thou shalt die in peace, and in this land thou shalt be buried with honor in the sepulchre of thy fathers with Abraham and Isaac. Fear not, for as thou hast seen and read it, thus shall it all be, and do thou write down everything as thou hast seen and read. And Jacob said, Lord, how can I remember all that I have read and seen? And he said unto him, I will bring all things to thy remembrance. And he went up from him, and he awoke from his sleep, and he remembered everything which he had read and seen, and he wrote down all the words which he had read and seen. And he celebrated there yet another day, and he sacrificed thereon according to all that he had sacrificed on the former days, and called its name Addition, for this day was added, and the former days he called the feasts. And thus it was manifested, then it should be, and it is written on the heavenly tablets, wherefore it was revealed to him that he should celebrate it, and add it to the 7 days of the feast. And its name was called Addition, because that it was recorded amongst the days of the feast days, according to the number of the days of the year. And in the night, on the 23rd of this month, Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and they buried her beneath the city under the oak of the river. And he called the name of this place the river of Deborah, and the oak of the morning of Deborah. And Rebekah went and returned to her house to his father Isaac. And Jacob sent by her hand rams and sheep and he goats, that she should prepare a meal for his father, such as he desired. And he went after his mother till he came to the land of Cabron, and he dwelt there. And Rachel bare a son in the night, and called his name Son of My Sorrow, for she suffered in giving him birth. But his father called his name Benjamin, on the 11th of the 8th month, in the first of the 6th week of this Jubilee. And Rachel died there, and she was buried in the land of Ephrath. And the same is Bethlehem, and Jacob built a pillar on the grave of Rachel on the road above her grave. Alright, last one. Eyes are getting heavy. And Jacob went and dwelt to the south of Magdalestra. And he went to his father Isaac, he and Leah his wife, on the new moon of the 10th month. And Reuben saw Bilhah, Rachel's maid, the concubine of his father, bathing in water in a secret place, and he loved her. And he hid himself at night, and he entered the house of Bilhah at night, and he found her sleeping alone on a bed in her house. And he lay with her, and she awoke and saw, and behold, Reuben was lying with her in the bed. And she uncovered the border of her covering, and seized him, and cried out, and discovered that it was Reuben. And she was ashamed because of him, and released her hand from him, and he fled. And she lamented because of this thing exceedingly, and did not tell it to anyone. And when Jacob returned and saw her, she said unto him, I am not clean for thee, for I have been defiled as regards thee. For Reuben has defiled me, and has lain with me in the night, and I was asleep, and did not discover until he uncovered my skirt, and slept with me. And Jacob was exceedingly wroth with Reuben, because he had been lain with Bilhah, because he had uncovered his father's skirt. And Jacob did not approach her again, because Reuben had defiled her. And as for any man who uncovers his father's skirt, his deed is wicked exceedingly, for he is an abominable before the Lord. For this reason it is written and ordained on the heavenly tablets, that a man should not lie with his father's wife, and should not uncover his father's skirt, for this is unclean, and they shall surely die together, the man who lies with his father's wife, and the woman also, for this have wrought uncleanness on the earth. And there shall be nothing unclean before our God in the nation which he has chosen for himself as a possession. And again it is written a second time, Cursed be he who lieth with his wife, with the wife of his father, for he hath uncovered his father's shame. And all the holy ones of the Lord said, So be it, so be it. And do thou, Moses, command the children of Israel that they observe this word, for it entails a punishment of death. And it is unclean, and there is no atonement for ever to atone for the man who has committed this. But he is to be put to death, and slain, and stoned with stones, and rooted out from the midst of the people of our God. For to no man who does so in Israel is it permitted to remain alive a single day on the earth, for he is abominable and unclean. And let them not say to Reuben was granted life and forgiveness after he had lain with his father's concubine, and to her also, though she had a husband, and her husband Jacob his father was still alive. For until that time there had been revealed the ordinance and judgment and law in its completeness for all. And in thy days it has been revealed as a law of seasons and of days, and an everlasting law for the everlasting generations. And for this law there is no consummation of days, and no atonement for it, but they must both be rooted out in the midst of thy nation. On the day thereon they committed it, they shall slay them. And do thou, Moses, write it down for Israel, that they may observe it, and do according to these words, and not commit a sin unto death. For the Lord our God is judge, who respects not persons and accepts not gifts. And tell them these words of the covenant, that they may hear and observe, and be on their guard with respect to them, and not be destroyed and rooted of the land. For an uncleanliness and an abomination and a contamination and a pollution are all they who commit it on the earth before our God. And there is no greater sin than the fornication which they commit on earth, for Israel is a holy nation unto the Lord its God, and a nation of inheritance, and a priestly and royal nation, and for his own possession. And there shall no such uncleanliness appear in the midst of the holy nation. And in the 3rd year of the 6th week, Jacob and all his sons went and dwelt in the house of Abraham near Isaac his father and Rebekah his mother. And these were the names of the sons of Jacob: the firstborn Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, the sons of Leah, and the sons of Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin, and the sons of Bilhah, Dan and Naphtali, and the sons of Zilpah, Gad, Asher, and Dinah, the daughter of Leah, and the daughter of Jacob. And they came and bowed themselves to Isaac and Rebekah, and when they saw them, they blessed Jacob and all his sons. And Isaac rejoiced exceedingly, for he had saw the sons of Jacob, his younger son, and he had blessed them. All right. Good stuff, huh? All right, I'll try to get quite a bit more done tomorrow during the afternoon. Thank you for listening. Have a good night.